Before notebooks, I went through life on autopilot. I'd go to school, work, study, do my side projects, but I always felt like I had no direction, like my life was scattered, and my life was scattered. If you don't know me, my name is Zach, and I was a doctor in the hospital, but I left, and I'm about to start a real job. But when I was a doctor, after one particularly tough day at the hospital, I remember I pulled out this old notebook and I just started writing. And for 30 minutes, I dumped every dark thought, every fear, every what the hell am I doing with my life just onto these pages. And that's when I decided to quit medicine. And I thought I would feel bad coming to the decision at the end of this journal, but I felt light. Like the notebook had made a decision for me. And it was then that I realized that this notebook is magic. But very quickly, I hit a snag. I had at one point 19 notebooks, one for school, one for work, one for my side project, one for my daily journal, one for my ideas, and many more that I had no idea where they came from. And very quickly, I found myself not writing anymore and not even using a notebook. Back onto autopilot, back online, back on my phone, back with a scattered brain. Then I had a thought so simple that it felt stupid. What if I just used one notebook for everything? No categories, no color coding, just one book. One chronological notebook that I put everything in. Like my life actually happens. And it changed everything. So let me introduce you to my chronological one notebook system, how I organize it, and how it can change your life. So, I only keep one chronological notebook at a time. And in this notebook, I write everything in. I write YouTube ideas, I write work stuff, I write other ideas, I write poems, yes, sometimes. I write my year plan, my weekly plan, my daily plan, my recipes, meetings, potential work stuff, friend notes. Every single thing in my life that I think should be written down goes in this notebook. And what I do is on every single notebook, inside the first page, I just write the date and I stick it to each notebook. And then when I'm done with a notebook, I add another date sticker at the end, marking the date I finished. And whenever I am thinking about something, whenever I forgot something, I usually have a general idea of when Zach was thinking about that. Maybe that was 2024, maybe that was spring of 2023, maybe that was just a couple of months ago. And I can go to that notebook with the date on it and just find out that specific time and usually find it pretty quickly. So here's the most recent notebook I finished, and you can see on the side there, I put the months and year that I have, so that way whenever I need to reference it, I can see kind of the months and date that I was using it. So this was January to May 2025. And again, I end every notebook by looking over it and reviewing kind of what I learned from this notebook, what my big points are, what I want to make sure I remember from it. And then I go into the next book. And the big question here is, but what if I have multiple projects? Shouldn't I have an everything place notebook, an idea notebook, a journal, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so if you have all these projects, how important are they really if you go 3 months, 6 months, a year without ever even opening this other notebook? And the average life of one of my notebooks, and they're pretty big notebooks, blank, huge notebooks, and I write pretty small, is like 3 to 6 months. And I'm able pretty much always, if it's within the past 2 or 3 years, to figure out when that place and time is in that notebook and go to it. And it's even better because when I'm looking at these projects, when I'm looking at these ideas, I can look at the journal and my ideas and daily thoughts and stuff like that and kind of get in the headspace of Zach from this time. So how do I actually organize this chronological notebook? Number 1 is obviously a journal. Number 2 is a monthly habit tracker. Number 3 is a 12-week year. And number 4 is literally everything else, doodler, poetry, anything. So let's talk through each one of these options and how I actually put it in my notebook. So the first thing is journal entry. So what I do here is something I think I invented, I copied from, I don't know, but it's something called the 1, 2, 3 method. The one thing is a brain dump of everything and anything in my mind, and this is the most impactful. If you can just do one thing every day for 5 minutes, it's the brain dump. Then I write down 2 things that I'm grateful for, because there's evidence that shows students who report what they're grateful for and people that write down what they're grateful for just have a better outlook, are happier, less anxiety, depression, blah, 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 blah. And then 3 small goals for the day. The brain dump clears my mind. The gratefulness practice helps me set me up for happiness and goodness throughout the day. And the 3 small goals lets me jump on whatever my first task of the day is right away. Because usually journaling is one of the first things I do in the morning. The next thing I love to have a journal for is the monthly tracker. So at the beginning of every month, I create this habit tracker of what I'm trying to track and an overall list, I guess, of monthly goals to help me organize my month in my head. And whenever I'm planning my next week or planning my day, I'll be able to flip back to this monthly planner and see, okay, I kind of wanted to accomplish this. I wanted to accomplish this. Here's the habits that I'm trying to improve on, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's the month planner, but how do I step back? Well, I step back into essentially the 3-month planner or the 12-week year. So the 12-week year is this book that really changed everything for me, because it helps you create a life vision, a life goal. And what this guy found by doing a lot of research is that a lot of people set yearly goals, but very few people actually accomplish these goals. And when he actually started to implement this across people's personal lives and also big companies, people were able to accomplish in 3 months what normally would take a year to accomplish. And then if you repeat this 4 times, because 12 months in a year, 3 months in this 12 weeks, that's 4 times a year, you can accomplish amazing things. So how do you do this really quickly? Well, essentially what the book says is first you have to create your life vision. Now this is very hard, right? But you have to think about, what do I want to accomplish in life? What kind of family do I want to have? Where do I want to live? How much money do I want to make? What do I want to contribute to the world? What do I want my life to be? Now this is very hard. So I encourage you to think about it. But importantly, when you think about this, it's not set in stone, right? You can change this every 6 months, every year. It's just really helpful to actually think about what you're doing instead of going on the autopilot that the rest of the world puts you on. Okay, so once you have that life vision, then I usually craft a 3-year goal, which is kind of subsets of those visions. And then from that 3-year goal, I usually set a 12-week goal. And the 12-week goal or the 12-week year are very actionable items that I can reasonably do within 3 months that align, most importantly, with this big overall life vision. Now, one of the most fun things about this is I have 2 friends that I meet with once a week on a Monday at 6:30 p.m. and we meet for 30 minutes called WHAMs, Weekly Accountability Meetings, and we go over each other's 12-week goals, what was the goals of the past week, and really help keep each other kind of on track and accountable. And it's really nice, I don't know, because these are friends from childhood and stuff like that, some of my best friends, but it's also nice to have this accountability buddy, someone that's motivating you and pushing you to improve. I always thought for the longest time that the best thing for me to do is be solo and do things on my own, but you realize you can accomplish so much more and do so much more things with smart, helpful, and kind people on your side. Okay, and finally, you have the last category, which is anything and everything. And this is the best part. Any idea, any thoughts, drawings, doodlings, poems, to-do lists, meal plans, anything and everything goes in this notebook. And I love it because I can jump back to a time in the past couple of years, see where my mind was, see what ideas I was having, what YouTube videos was I working on, what different projects, where was I struggling. A lot of times I'll see in some of my notebooks when I had a bad breakup, or when I had this really cool idea, when something amazing happened, I got into medical school, I got into residency, I got a job that I was working really hard to get, I hit 100,000 subscribers, I hit 500,000 subscribers, that it just takes up the whole page just because it's such a big moment for me. And recently, actually, I was finding YouTube, honestly, a little bit of a struggle, publishing videos, coming up with new and exciting videos every week, especially when video views have been all right, and it felt a little bit like a struggle. And I went back to my notebook from 5 years ago, and I realized actually that the exciting part for me from looking at these journals wasn't that I was getting all these views or making money or blah, 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 but it was that I was talking about things that I was genuinely interested in. And this is how 5 years ago Zach really helped now Zach, because now I'm just making videos about things that are exciting to me and that I use every day. And that's the power of this chronological notebook. You can remember the wisdom of the younger person. And yes, younger people do have wisdom. And you can look back on that and say, I changed, or actually, maybe I should go back to this. Okay, finally, let's talk about the individual organization and what actual notebooks and pens I really use to do this. So at the end of every notebook, as a backup, I take a picture of every single page of my notebook and put it into a certain kind of note on Apple Notes. Then I have a backup, and interestingly, what I've been doing recently is I can have AI look at my specific journals and summarize who Zach was at that time and any cool ideas I had that I might have forgotten about. But it's really nice if you can not lose these notebooks and just have the storage of your old notebooks. It's something special about it. So currently, my favorite notebook is this Midori A5 blank notebook, and I like it because I can do doodlings, I can do any kind of things, I can write a lot in this, and just fill this book really completely up. And my favorite fountain pens is a whole nother thing. If you want to see a video about fountain pens, let me know, but I bought like probably, 100 fountain pens in the past couple of months. I really like the Pilot Metropolitan Fine pen. Like, it's a great starter pen. I think it's 20, 30 bucks. It's amazing with the black ink that's not included, but it's the Pilot Iroshizuku ink. You can find it on Amazon. It's amazing. My first level up pen, which is still my favorite fountain pen, I think, right now, is the Christopher Franklin fountain pen. And I did this with the Nagahara needlepoint. Really nerdy stuff here. Don't worry about it. You can Google it. And I only use a green ink on it. And it's just on this Midori notebook, which is some high quality paper. It feels so nice to write. When you get a nice fountain pen and a nice notebook, it just feels good to write. I can't explain it. You just buy one of these notebooks or buy a nice notebook and buy like a Pilot Metro fountain pen, or fountain pens are really particular to kind of who you are, what kind of writing style you have, what you like.
12 days later.
Okay, so enough nerding out. Bottom line, overall, what do I do? What is this chronological notebook that's changed my life? And I love it. I really do love it. So number one, have only one notebook that I enter with the date and time at the beginning of every entry, and that's it. Use the 1, 2, 3 note-taking method every day when I do my daily journaling method. Number 3, I have a monthly tracker and use the 12-week year to organize my big overall thoughts, life vision, and plan. And finally, number 4, I fill this notebook with absolutely everything. Anything and everything that I want to write about goes into this notebook with just a date. Oh, and bonus, I guess, number 5, I back everything up with AI. A single notebook system is the only way I've been consistently able to journal and write. I went from 19 notebooks collecting dust to one notebook that knows everything. My financial anxiety sits next to my breakfast burrito recipe, my YouTube ideas mingle with my small existential crises, and somehow that chaos makes more sense than any system ever did. Turns out my life isn't meant to be categorized, so why does my notebook have to be? In the end, in nearly everything I've been doing, simplicity wins. And the easiest system is usually the best one. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you get a notebook and a nice fountain pen, because seriously, it's crazy stuff, life-changing stuff. But I will see you on the next one.